This thing today on my inspirational quotes. It says, dreams are renewable. Dreams are renewable. No matter what your age or your condition, there are still untapped possibilities within us.
Amen.
And a new beauty waiting to be born.
Yes.
So dreams are still within you. You know, sometimes they kind of fade. And you wonder when and where. And some of us keep the clock in the back of our mind. And we don't know exactly how much time we got left. Or, you know, and then you're encouraged by people that lived a life full of longevity, that were able to accomplish much in their later years. And I thank you, Lord, that you are faithful over so many things.
Amen.
But as I was asking the question, even those of us that were with us on the Bible study Tuesday, that's what we were talking about. Why are you here? You know, that's a profound question that people have been asking forever. But we'll be going to 1 Kings 19 and 18. We'll start with 18. But the key verse today is 1 Kings 19:9 in the New English translation. Said he went into a cave and there he spent the night. And all of a sudden the Lord spoke to him. Why are you here, Elijah? Now this question has confounded mankind for eternity. Only rivaled by who created us and why? Those are some of those eternal questions that nobody can really answer. Those of us that believe in God and creationism believe that God created us. Those of you that believe in monkeys and fish being your ancestors, you believe in another way, evolution. That there was just gases out there floating around, all of a sudden they had an explosion and became planets and seas and mountains and hills. Like I said, I've blown up a lot of things in my life. And you know, I put a lot of TNT and a lot of heavy bombs together. I remember, as I told you before, one time I was in the Army, they told us when we got rid of all of our explosives, we could go in. So we put everything in one big hole. And we exploded all that stuff at once, and I felt my lungs collapse. And I was like maybe 100 feet from it.
Wow.
But it was such an explosion, I could feel it just sucked all the air out of me. And there was a big hole just left. But it didn't create an Escalade, it didn't create a Bugatti.
Right.
You know, that explosion, as great as it was, it didn't even create a Tonka toy. Nothing was there. So these people that believe that we were formed from gases exploding or from being an amoeba somewhere way back and all that stuff, it takes more faith to believe in evolution than it does creation. Because God said, and it was. You know, people want to argue about how long was the week. I don't know. In the Word it says, one day is like 1,000 with Him. So you can put it wherever you want. And you got to realize we speak in terms of time because we have a limited amount of time. God is unlimited. He's never running late. He's never behind His time. He's never let stuff catch up with Him. Oh man, it's just too much stuff on my plate. You'll never hear God utter anything like that because He's already outside of time. You know, that's one thing, you know, as we look at the calendar and the clock, we realize that we are slave to time. The 1 King 18, Elijah meets the king's servant. Sometime later in the 3rd year of the famine, the Lord told Elijah, go and make an appearance before Ahab, so I may send rain on the surface of the ground. So Elijah went to make an appearance before Ahab. Now the famine was severe in Samaria. You know, you'd have to go back a couple chapters to realize where this famine came from. Elijah wanted to prove to the people that he was a mighty man of God. So he asked for the Lord to give him favor, to give them an example. And he told the people, it's not going to rain until I say so. Now he didn't know there was going to be 3.5 years or whatever, but you know, at the time God didn't tell him how long that would be, the drought. But in the middle of this drought, people are looking for food and water. Animals are dying. The king is suffering. When you have the king out personally looking for food, it got tight. When the king himself is going to try to search the lands because he didn't believe the reports he was getting back. When people were telling him there are no more food, you know, there's nothing else to find. And when people telling him that, he had to go see for himself. Sometimes you just don't believe. You know, there's this one commercial I see all the time where these raccoons and they're eating something. And dude tell him, taste this. He said, no, man, I got a weak stomach. He said, no, taste this. He said, this is something you got to taste it. The other raccoon steady arguing with him. It tastes like burnt hair or something else. The dude like, he's like, no, taste this. He said, no, man, I don't need to taste it. I'll take your word for it. And sometimes we're like that other raccoon that you just gotta see for yourself. You don't believe God has done what he's gonna do. You don't believe God can do what he says he would do. But Elijah was allowed by God to speak, and it was. He gave him a little bit of creation, a little bit of his power. That God would give you the power to use some of his glory just for a temporary basis. You know? And so, it said down in verse 3, so Ahab summoned Obadiah, who supervised the palace. Now, Obadiah was a very loyal follower of the Lord. See, God is able to have his servants no matter where they are. There's a lot of people that claim they serve God, but you know, you can always look at the fruit. But Obadiah was in the midst of a pagan king and a pagan king's castle, surrounded by pagans, and yet he still served the Lord. People try to tell you on my job, I'm the only one that's Christian. People try to tell you wherever I go, I'm the only one wanting to serve the Lord. I'm the only one in my family that's saved. Everybody else is going to hell. You know, some people get that mentality that God can't save anybody else in your family. Some of you secretly are hoping God doesn't save them. Because them people have been working your nerves as long as you can remember. And if I got to think about you being in heaven with me, that's kind of ruining my whole heaven existence. Yes. Just give them a separate side of heaven, on the other side of heaven, but don't let them be in my heaven. You know, but that's sometimes we get caught in that, but thinking we the only ones serving. And he said, verse 4, when Jezebel was killing the Lord's prophets, Obadiah took 100 prophets and hid them in 2 caves in 2 groups of 50. He also brought them food and water. Now, this is a miracle within itself. You are in the middle of famine. You know, Judas was stealing from the Lord, and they had so much in the bag that nobody noticed it. See, if the Lord would have $5 or $10 and Judas was stealing it, then somebody would say, hey, well, we know we collected at least $5 this week, and the $5 ain't in the bag. But being as they were in the middle of a famine, and he was able to feed these 100 prophets. And then Obadiah, I don't know if you've ever been to a banquet or been serving. It takes a lot to serve 100 people. I don't care how big your backpack is or how long your robe is. To get out the palace and feed these people frequently and take them food and water for 100 folks in 2 different locations. Yeah. So you double daring them to catch you. If I'd had all 100 of them in 1 cave, I only had to make 1 trip. But he divided them into 2 caves, so the crowd was so big in the caves he found couldn't hold all 100 people. But yet he trusted the Lord enough that during this famine he was able to take care of God's people. Yeah. That's the message there you need to receive. That God is able to take care of you regardless of what's going on. Yeah. I keep seeing all these reports that this is the best economy we had in 60 years. And the country is just making money. Stocks are up and bonds are up. And all the people I'm talking to are just getting by. So I'm like, who are these people that making all this money? Like they said, even in the Great Depression, the wealthy didn't suffer. They may have lost half their money, but half of a few million, it still leaves you a few billion. So they didn't suffer. They wasn't begging like other people, you know. I mean, the DuPonts and, you know, all these different people made money. Standard Oil with, you know, he didn't go broke. He still was selling gas no matter how tight things were. Ford still made money, you know, because people still needed vehicles. Even though they were poor, they needed vehicles to get out of where they were at. So I'm just saying, so God is able to take care of you no matter where you are. Don't ever think that he can't provide for you in your present situation. It may not be the situation you want. It may not be the situation you're looking for. It may not have all the bells and whistles you want. But he is providing for you. You have to remember that. In verse 5, Ahab told Obadiah, go through the land and to all the springs and the valleys. Maybe we can find some grazing areas so we can keep horses and mules alive and not have to kill some of the animals. And they divided up the land between them. Ahab went one way and Obadiah went the other. See, God will separate you from people when he wants to do something special in your life. Never fear being the only one. Tell somebody. Batman needed Robin. But God and I are a majority. You don't need no sidekick with God. If you have a sidekick, it's a blessing.
Amen.
But he just let them know right there that I don't need nobody. Elijah was on his own during this whole drought. Even though God sent people to provide for him and help him, but when he was at the brook by himself, he told the ravens to feed him.
Yeah.
Ravens are a very greedy bird if you get to look at them. When they find a morsel on the ground, they fight among other ravens. They're not wanting to share with the other ravens. But yet they brought him meat and substance, you know, stealing somebody's bread that was cooling on the window. I could be, they just set their little bread out there, the raven done snatched it and brought it to Elijah, I'm just thinking this, and he's sitting there by a cool brook. He got running water when nobody else got running water. And what's around a brook? Brooks have berries, and brooks have trees, and brooks have fruit and stuff. So God had put him in a place where there was provision. But not only did he give him berries and stuff, but he also brought him bread. It said the ravens brought him bread. Ravens ain't got no oven. So they said the ravens was breaking him bread. So I'm just saying, they ain't making no donuts in there. They're just ravens. So when God separates you from people you really think you need, people you really think you can't do without, you got to realize when God starts to separate you from people, he's trying to do something different in your life. God is trying to show you, you are where you are because of me. You're doing what you're doing because of my power. Amen. You're in a position right now when I can do something special with you. See, sometimes, as I was preaching a couple weeks ago, you got too many people with you. You got too many people in your crowd. People that are naysayers. People that don't see things spiritually. You try to explain to somebody why you tithing, and they tell you why. Well, I'm tithing because the Lord commands it. He don't say you got to tithe in the Bible. Where's that? They go on and on. That's Old Testament. This is New Testament. And all this other stuff. People want to argue about their mouth. But, if Jay-Z coming to town with Beyonce and everybody, you got the money. If it's the NBA All-Star Weekend and you got a chance to buy some tickets, you got it. Right? But sometimes, when it comes to the Lord, we put him on the back burner. It's just, Lord, I'll hook you up as soon as I get mine. We even put a stipulation on the Lord. You give me mine, then I give you yours. All right, if you provide me enough money to tithe with, see, right now, we in an emergency situation. There ain't enough money for each one of us. So I got to handle my business, and I'll take care of your business as soon as you take care of my business. Right. I'll give you 10%, but right now I ain't got nothing. So, we negotiate with God. Open up the windows and pour me out a blessing I won't be able to contain. We all want that mega blessing. As Obadiah was traveling along, Elijah met him. When he recognized him, he fell face down to the ground and said, "It's really you, my master Elijah?" And he replied, "Yes, and go and say to your master, Elijah is back." And Obadiah said, "What sin have I committed that you're ready to hand your servant over to Ahab for execution?" Now, he was glad to see the prophet, but the prophet had a message he didn't want to hear. Go show yourself to him and tell him that Elijah's going to see you. Now, Elijah, we know that you've disappeared on people. We've been looking for you for years. All through this drought, didn't nobody know where Elijah was at. And all of a sudden, you said, there's a curse on the land, and then you ran. You left the rest of the servants here. You left the rest of the people that are faithful here. Elijah, you cursed the land, and then you took off. Now you want me to go tell the king the cursor is here. The one that started the trouble is here. And if I go tell the king you here, what happened if you disappear again? Why you trying to get me killed, Elijah? And he said, "As certainly as the Lord your God lives, my master has sent me to every nation and kingdom in an effort to find you. When they say he's not here, he makes them swear on an oath that they could not find you. Now you say, go say to your master, Elijah's back. But if I leave you and the Spirit will carry you away, so I can't find you. And if I go tell Ahab I've seen you, he won't be able to find you. He will kill me. That would not be fair, because your servant has been a loyal follower to the Lord from my youth." Look, me and God go all the way back. I've been serving God as long as I can remember. And now all of a sudden you will put me in a position to take me out. God has a work for me. I'm still busy for the Lord. So God can't take me. He needs me right here Somebody got to be a light in the castle. Somebody got to be a light to witness to. You know, I drop a little verse every now and then. You know, Ahab and Jezebel, when they say something, you know, somebody sneezes, I might say, God bless you. you know, I'm doing my part to witness to this pagan king. So y'all need me to have some light in that castle. He said, certainly your master is aware of what I did with Jezebel, was killing the Lord's prophets. I hid 100 of the Lord's prophets in 2 caves, 2 groups of 50, and I brought them food and water. Now you say, go and say to your master, Elijah's back, but he will kill me. But Elijah said, as certainly as the Lord who rules over all lives, whom I serve, I will make an appearance before him today. So there is nothing stopping you from doing the mission God has for you. Regardless of what man is saying, regardless of what man is doing, regardless of the circumstances piling up, when it looks like you can't do it, but if God has said you will fulfill that mission, you're going to fulfill it. Amen. Don't even worry about what it looks like. When Obadiah went and informed Ahab, the king went to meet Elijah. And when Ahab saw Elijah, he said to him, is it really you, the one who brings disaster on Israel? And Elijah replied, I've not brought disaster on Israel, but you and your father's dynasty have, by abandoning the Lord's commandments and following the Baals. Now send out messengers and assemble all of Israel before me at Mount Carmel, as well as the 450 prophets of Baal and the 400 prophets of Asherah, whom Jezebel supports. So now he's taking it. Not only am I back, I want everybody to know I'm back. Get the whole kingdom together. Let's get on Mount Carmel. Jesus said you don't hide your light up under a bushel. Right, he said you put it on the hill where everybody can see it. So here's his light getting on top of the hill, telling everybody, come on, you want to see why I'm back and you want to see what I'm here for? Get all your preachers together and have them meet me on this hill. It's going to be a showdown. That's what Vance Allen's saying. And Ahab sent messages to all the Israelites and had the prophets assemble on Mount Carmel. See, never allow anyone to flip the script on you and make it your fault. As soon as he saw the man, he talking about you the trouble of Israel. Man, how you going to give me your title? He had to tell us, he said, man, you and your family been causing problems for his whole country forever. Yes. You have a dynasty of troublemakers. Yes. All y'all been in troublemakers. Man, now you going to try to turn around, here come Israel's problem. Here come Israel's trouble. You know, don't flip the script on me, man. Never allow nobody to give you their fault. Don't accept anybody else's fault for what they want to put on you. Amen. See, I've heard people say, well, my kids turned out this way because I wasn't there. I worked too much and I did that. I wasn't able to be in their life and this and that. Me and their mom couldn't get along, so we had to go separate ways. You know, people got all these excuses. And they want to come back, my life was ruined because you wasn't there. You know, I'm going to tell you, sometimes God has blessed you not to have that person in your life. They really was, because if you'd had them in your life would have been more miserable. I heard people, you know, I used to meet people that had, you know, a father dead, and they was talking about a father they never talked to. I told them, the father I had, I don't know. I think I might have been better off if he was dead. I could have got Social Security or something. You know what I'm saying? But the brother that was alive wasn't giving him nothing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he was a hard man with old school phrase. And the man, he never was, you know, for years, I wasn't even sure he knew my name. You know, because he never called me. You know, he had several sons. He had 6 sons. And he just said, boy, come here. Boy, what'd I tell you? Boy, this and that. You know, that's all he... I can never, ever remember him saying Jeff. All the while we interacted, he never once called me by name. Wow. You know, but I'm just saying, you know, and I got past that. I don't have issues. You know, you got to be able to move on. But I'm just saying, those of you thinking that if you were missing a parent, I just want to let you know, the one you had may not have been all that great, so you may have been better off without him, you know? At least you had the fantasy. If my dad would have been alive, I would have had this. If my dad would have, you know, I got a fantasy at least. But reality makes fantasy look terrible. You know, so I'm just saying. Then people talking about being the favorite kid and all that. You know, when you're the favorite, you got to work hard.
Not when you said
when they need to jump in this 40 below, they can call that favorite kid. when they need somebody to pick them up and take them to an appointment, who got to do it? The favorite. You got to work hard to be the favorite. The favorite comes with slave labor. I'm more than happy to be just associated with you. you know, I'm just saying, think about it. The other one can do all kind of mess and they expect it. Because they ain't did nothing in so long, they expect them to fail. But when the favorite fails, oh man, not you. I wasn't expecting that from you. They shocked when the other one does anything. If he says hi, they surprised. You know? I'm just saying. Watch out for that favorite status. In verse 21, Elijah approached all the people and said, how long are you going to be paralyzed in indecision? If the Lord is a true God, then follow him. But if Baal is, follow him. But the people did not say a word. See, these are the people on the fence. They talking about they agnostic. That means you're scared to believe in God and you're scared not to believe in God. So you're just going to be neutral with God. But he got a verse for that too. He said, if you lukewarm, I'm going to spoil you out. You know, you ever let your coffee sit there and get cold all of a sudden you drink? This ain't the same coffee I started with. You may have paid Starbucks $5 or $10 for that cup, but it's not as good once it's lukewarm, right? And God is the same way. Either you're on fire or either you're cold. But he said, if you're lukewarm, I'll spit you out. People want to argue, God don't spit. That's right there. He said, I will spit you out. That's something distasteful. So the people laid back trying to see how this thing going to happen. Elijah said to them, I am the only prophet of the Lord who's left. But there are 450 prophets of Baal. Let them bring 2 bulls, and let them choose one of the bulls for themselves. Cut it up into pieces and place it on the wood. But they must not set fire to it. And I will do the same to the other bull and place it on the wood. But I will not set fire to it. Then you will invoke the name of your God, and I will invoke in the name of the Lord. And the God who responds with fire will demonstrate that he is the true God. And all the people responded, this is a fair test. As long as they ain't got to do nothing, they ain't involved with it. Y'all want to have a contest? Go for it. Because we still ain't making no decisions. We'll see which God is the real God. Elijah told the prophets of Baal, choose one of the bulls for yourselves and go first. You are the majority. Invoke the name of your God and do not light a fire. So they took a bull as he suggested and they prepared it and they invoked the name of Baal from morning until noon, saying, Baal, answer us. But there was no sound and no answer. They jumped around the altar they had made. So now they begging on Baal, they dancing for Baal, they praising Baal. Baal ain't said a word. You know? Now it's getting embarrassing because you got the whole people watching this thing happen. At noon, Elijah mocked them. Yell louder. After all, he is a God. He may be in deep thought. So your God daydreaming. Perhaps he stepped out for a moment. Or maybe he's taking a trip. Your God out of town. He ain't got no signal. Where he's at, you know? All his communication is being cut. He got that little circle thing going, you know? He's trying to find you, but he can't find you, you know? I said, well, perhaps he's sleeping. It needs to be awakened. In another translation, the King James said he's gone asunder, which some translate that to mean that he's in the bathroom. You know, he can't be answering right now. He's in the middle of handling his business. You know, so that's what they say when he's gone asunder. You know, you don't disturb nobody in the bathroom if you got any class. But anyway, and then he says, so they yelled louder in accordance with their prescribed ritual. Then they mutilated themselves with swords and spears until their bodies were covered with blood. So now that we got to adding another sacrifice, we can't set this one on fire, so our God is the God of blood. So let us show him some blood. They got to cutting each other and cutting themselves and all this. Now they covered with blood. Throughout the afternoon, there was an ecstatic frenzy, but there was no sound, no answer, no response. Elijah then told all the people, approach me. So all the people approached him. He repaired the altar of the Lord that had been torn down. So he got the altar back in place. Amen. That's another reason he chose that mountain. That's where they used to worship the Lord. Sometimes you got to go back to where you were. Amen. Sometimes your walk has to be reignited. Yeah. Sometimes you got to rebuild that altar in your life. Sometimes your altar has got a little in disrepair. Your altar done fell down. Other things done came in the way. Life, kids, bills. You know, life will get you caught up. You ain't got time for a church like you used to. It may be too far. You may not have enough gas. You know, people got all kinds of reasons. It's 5 below wind chill. I can watch Joel Osteen and be comfortable. I ain't got to scrape no windows. You know, I'm just saying, you know. The Lord knows I'm watching him, you know. I'll even, you know, during halftime, I may even read a little word. So then Elijah took 12 stones corresponding to the number of the tribes that descended from Jacob, to whom the Lord had said, Israel will be your new name. And with the stones he constructed an altar for the Lord. Around the altar he made a trench large enough to contain 2 sheaths of seed. He arranged the wood, cut up the bull, and placed it on the wood. Then he said, fill 4 water jars, and pour the water on the offering of the wood. And they did so. And then he said, do it again. So they did it again. Then he said, do it a 3rd time. So they did it a 3rd time. Now, these are 30-gallon jugs that they done filled up over and over. Okay? Now, we're forgetting that you're in the middle of a famine. So even if you thought things was rough, Elijah's wasting the water we got. So he's going to have to do something, because now he's done wasted all this water trying to light a fire with water. See, you got to look at the irony of how God deals with things. He will take things that the people say are crazy. He'll make a man out of dust. He'll make a man and pour his spirit into him. Then he'll take and put the man to sleep and make a woman out of his rib. You know? And then we go on. But these things sound crazy. These things that normally shouldn't happen. Snakes all up in your business. You know? Talking and setting you off the plan that God has for your life. So then he said, the water flowed down on all sides, and the altar was filled to trench. And then there was a time for the evening offering. Elijah and the prophets approached the altar, and he prayed, O Lord, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, prove today that you are the God in Israel, and that I am your servant, and have done all these things at your command.
Amen.
Answer me, O Lord, answer me, so these people will know that you, O Lord, are the true God, and that you are winning back their allegiance.
Yes.
See, sometimes you got to realize that when you stand for God, other people stand with you. When you get busy for the Lord, other people want to get busy. People, you know, they talk about now how these mega churches are starting to get in trouble because some of the fantasy is worn off. Some of this, you know, it takes a lot to run a mega church. It takes a lot of money, and it takes, you know, commitment. And we got to compete against sports. We got to compete against entertainment. We got to, the Oscars on, you know, all these other, the Emmys is on. Even wondering would Jesse Smollett get another trial? All this other stuff is in the field. It's keeping you from serving the Lord. Kanye's going to throw a church together at the pier. You know, all these other things. Kanye's cutting into mega churches. He's got a portable church. How many of them people that go to the mega churches in Chicago showed up to be with Kanye? You know? I was looking at, what's his name? John Hanna was getting sued by the neighborhood because all these people park in everybody's parking place for his church. And he's built a new church that they've been working on for 5 years that he ain't finished. And so now they suing him, man. They tired of people sitting in their parking space. It's clearly marked, people live here only, with a sticker. He said, I can't tell, but you ever try to tell church people what to do? You know, I was watching the interview. He said, I told them don't park there. They ain't listening. So John Hanna passed the buck. So I'm just saying, mega churches carry a lot of responsibility. But if the Lord has extra one, I ain't against giving it a shot. I'm just saying. That staff of 25 pastors, and, you know, all that stuff. That Mercedes or Bentley, depending on the church. You know, I ain't throwing no stones. But so then fire from the Lord fell from the sky, and it consumed the offering, the wood, the stones, the dirt, and licked up the water in the trench. Now, this is a holy fire. This fire burn up rocks. You know, we be camping out and stuff, and you throw rocks in there. There are certain rocks that pop. Not every rock is a camping rock. And you sit there and you ever get hit by a piece of hot rock, You be like, oh man, and it gets to popping. Like, who put that popping rock up in here? You know? And then you got to try to dig for this rock while it's popping. You know. So I'm just saying, these rocks just disappear. The wood and the dirt, the offering, everything. When all the people saw this, they threw themselves down with their faces to the ground and said, "The Lord is true God. The Lord is true God." Now they're ready to worship. Elijah told them, "Seize the prophets of Baal. Don't let even one of them escape." So they seized them, and Elijah led them down to Kishon Valley and executed them there. Then Elijah told Ahab, "Go up and eat and drink, for the sound of a heavy rainstorm can be heard."
Right.
Now this is, right about dusk. And he's talking about there's a big storm coming. We are still in the middle of a drought. All he did was take some water and kill a bull and all that, but there still had not been any rain. But he tells him in faith that it's getting ready to rain. So Ahab went down to eat and drink, and while Elijah climbed to the top of Carmel, he bent down toward the ground and put his face between his knees. And he told his servant, "Go up and look in the direction of the sea." So he went up and looked and reported, "There's nothing." 7 times Elijah sent him to look. The 7th time the servant said, "Look, a small cloud, the size of a palm of a man's hand, is rising from the sea." Elijah then said, "Go tell Ahab, hitch up your chariots and go down, for the rain won't overtake you." See, God has taught me to look for that small clue.
Yeah. Amen.
Yes. Look for that small clue. He's not in the signs and wonders and the miracles. When you're looking for a word for God, he ain't in the storm and the rain and all that stuff. God speaks with a still, quiet voice. And if you got other stuff distracting you, other stuff taking your emotions, other stuff taking your time with God, you won't even hear it. God will be speaking to you and you will miss it. You got to listen for that quiet, calm nudging of the Lord. Some people say they've heard an audible voice. He's never talked to me audibly. But I won't discount those that said he did. I don't know, because he talks to me in such a way that I know it was the Lord. There's just no doubt in my mind. There's no doubt in my spirit. My spirit man lines up with his spirit. So I look for the small clues. Meanwhile, the sky was covered with dark clouds and the wind blew and there was a heavy rainstorm. Ahab rode towards Jezreel. Now the Lord energized Elijah with power. He tucked his robe into his belt and ran ahead of Ahab all the way to Jezreel. You got to picture this old man, this old grizzly prophet, running around here in camel clothes, camel skin clothes and all that. He was an old school prophet, like John the Baptist, so he wore the old thick fur-like stuff year round. Now he's done tucked up his robe and he's running alongside of the king's horses that are running full speed. And this man is running in front of the king's horses talking smack. Can't you imagine? The king should have known there's something. Now, we done had a sacrifice. We got poured down rain. We got all this stuff going, and the king yet still didn't believe any signs and wonders. So Ahab told Jezreel all that Elijah had done, including the detailed account of how he killed all the prophets with the sword. And Jezebel sent a messenger to Elijah with this warning: "May God judge me severely if by this time tomorrow I did not make your life as you did theirs." Whew. You want to kill prophets? I got a prophet on my hit list. If it's a season for killing prophets, by this time tomorrow you're going to be like all my preachers. You done wiped out all my praise and worship. You done wiped out my whole thing. You done killed my church. She said, "I'm going to make you be like my church." And Elijah was afraid, so he got up and fled for his life to Beersheba in Judah. And he left his servant there. Now, this old man is getting off about 200 miles out the way. And this is so while he went a day's journey to the desert, he went and sat down under a shrub and asked the Lord to take his life. "I've had enough. Now, oh Lord, take my life. After all, I'm no better than my ancestors." And I don't even know why I thought I could do this. What made me decide that God wanted to use me? What made me think that God had power he wanted to give me? What made me think that God had a calling on my life? What made me think that God was going to do something special with me? When he got threatened by the queen that has killed all these other prophets, and she said, "By tomorrow, I'm going to kill you," The first thing Elijah did was get out of town. This is a man that just, seen a bull catch on fire, saw rain come from a cloud the size of his hand. He's in the storm now. You are being covered with the rain. You're being covered with God's proof right now. While you're running in this storm, God is still with you. Though I may be in a storm, my God has not left me. Though it may seem like it's overwhelming and it's flooding, but God hasn't left me. God has done something he hadn't done in 3.5 years. It's raining. So if God wasn't with me, why is it raining? If God still didn't have favor on my life, why is he still doing miracles through me? Sometimes we forget that God is still using us and God is still blessing us and God is still providing and God is still doing what he said he would do. Sometimes we get off track because we get to looking at the circumstances. We get to forgetting about our anointing. You get to forgetting your calling. You forget that your children are blessed. Your family is blessed. The Bible says you and your whole household are blessed. It didn't say some of y'all. It said all of you are blessed. I can do all things through Christ Jesus that strengthens me. Amen. And this man's running. Whew. He ran. He stretched out and fell asleep under a shrub. All of a sudden, an angelic messenger touched him and said, "Get up and eat." He looked right there. By his head was a cake baking on hot coals and a jug of water. He ate and drank and then slept some more. You ever been depressed where you just lay around sleeping? You can't even get out of bed. You may eat, you may not eat. Sometimes you just existing. Sometimes you got responsibility. You got children, you got a husband, or you got a wife, or you got a job. You can't call the plant and tell them I'm depressed today. I won't be in this week because I'm not feeling it. They'll tell you take next week too. And the week after that. I mean, that ain't an excuse for job. You can say you're going through, but they don't want to hear that. Your kids need to be fed and the house needs to be maintained. Your husband's like, I've been at work all day, girl. I know you're depressed, but it's rough out there for me too. Ain't nobody got a rose garden. Come on, girl, get up and fix some lunch. I'm just saying, when you going through stuff, people may not understand it. But he just laying there, and the angel just got up and baked him something to eat. You got a hot bread, fresh hot bread and water, and you too tired to praise the Lord. He too, I don't even think he said his blessing over the food. That brother just dug in and ate, drank that cool water. You in the middle of nowhere with a cool water, a jug, and a bread, hot, fresh. You ever ate fresh bread that's hot and just got it? Don't even need butter. The bread itself is just good, I'm talking about good butter. I mean, like Texas Roadhouse good. But they eat a little hot buns at Texas Roadhouse. They just good by themselves. I'm just saying.
Don't forget about the butter.
You don't need it. You don't need it, but it's good bread. Amen. So then the Lord's angelic messenger came back again, touched him and said, "Get up and eat, for otherwise you won't be able to make the journey." So he got up and ate and drank. And the meal gave him strength to travel for 40 days and 40 nights until he reached Horeb, the mountain of God. Now, I've seen a lot of energy drinks. I've seen these power bars with nuts and raisins and all this stuff that's supposed to give you enough for your workout and enough to take you through the day. Snickers that tell you if you need an energy break, grab a Snickers. But 40 days and 40 nights. 40, the number of punishment. 40, the number of trial. 40, the number of foundation. So all of this was in that. 40 days. This old man was able from that lunch to go 40 days and 40 nights. But what was not in that, there wasn't a rebuke in there. There wasn't a rebuke like, man, you God's servant. What are you doing here all in depression? Right. There wasn't a rebuke in there about, didn't you just do all these signs and wonders? The angel said, didn't you know that fire that was lit, who you think lit it? Well, the Lord dispatched me to light that fire. God ain't running around here starting fires for nothing. That's what he got angels for. See, I've been working hard for you all week. Well, rain clouds gathered up. The Lord gave the command, who's out there stirring the water? Right. getting these clouds formed. So see, this angel that was ministering to him had been with him all along. This is the same angel that was ministering to him when the ravens had to feed him. You know, ravens see a chicken cooler in the window, grab it and take it to him. I mean, just think about it. It took him his food.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, please don't pecan pie, ripping stuff off. You know, they probably were mixing it up. Wow. So he went into a cave, and there he spent the night. And all of a sudden, the Lord spoke to him. Why are you here, Elijah?
Come on now.
This question is so profound on so many levels. You can ask yourself weekly,
Right.
why are you here?
Right.
In some cases, daily.
Right.
Kids going crazy, stuff backed up, bills piling up. Why am I here? One of the, my mom used to tell us all the time, she's leaving all of us heathens. She said, I'm leaving, I'm running away, leave all you heathens here. And I can remember getting physically sick and throwing up and all this, and then she'd have to say, I will take you with me, Jeff. I got physically sick, and she thought about she leaving, would go, and I couldn't go. And I would just start, I'd fall all apart. All right, you can go. But she would constantly tell us, I'm leaving all y'all in here. I'm gonna walk out the door and I ain't even gonna shut it. She said stuff like that. So implying that anybody else can come in here and kill all of us. I guess I don't know what she was saying. But she's like, I'm going out. She won't make no noise on the way out. I hear that impala starting up the shit. Number tail lights. But I'm just saying, I don't know what she meant. They said, why are you here? Sometimes there's more on my plate than I can handle.
Yes,
a strained relationship with a loved one. Caught in a mess not of your own making.
Come on now.
And the truth be told, it probably wasn't none of your business anyway.
Come on now. Right. Absolutely.
A lot of times the stuff you dealing with wasn't even your business.
Right.
A lot of stuff that you frustrated about and mad about and everything, the Lord didn't tell you to get in the middle of that.
That's right.
He didn't tell you to be involved with that.
That's right.
You ever try to tell grown folks how to live their life?
Ooh, Jesus. Give it a little.
It's very frustrating.
Right.
I mean, please, that's you. Go and sin no more. Finances all jacked up. Health failing because of your bad choices. And you're just tired, mentally and physically. And sometimes you just feel like your brain is tired.
Right.
You don't even want to make a decision on lunch. That's too much strain. You don't want to, is there milk in there? I don't know. That's too many questions for me at this point. Sometimes you're just going through. All this other stuff piling up, finances, relationships, all this stuff going on in your life. Then all of a sudden people get one more decision. You ever see people asking kids, what do you think we should do? I've seen it. I've had people come to this church and tell me their 8-year-old son told them we need to go to the church. I had 2 women tell me, 2 different women. We were riding by and my son said, that's the church we need to go to, Mom, so we're here. Tommy 8 years old, he ain't giving me much advice. I'm just saying. Josie, there's certain people I'm not looking for advice from. He may advise me on that switch or something, but other than that, which my patience is only about that long for that little bitty thing anyway. But I'm just saying, people get so frustrated they turn to their kids, small kids. What do I do next? So you gotta watch that. That mental thing is worse than the physical tired. Sometimes you can be tired just thinking. You're tired. I can get up from 8 hours sleep and be feeling good, and all of a sudden, I gotta do this, and I'm just too tired. This retirement thing is rough. I can sleep all night and watch 30 minutes of news and say, man, I need a nap. I got tired from watching the news. Watching what everybody else is going through out there and all their life, and that's exhausting. They slide around in traffic jams and all this stuff, and you got to be careful. Don't let things get in your spirit.
Amen.
Certain people come in your house, you look out the window, oh no, here they come. And now I got my ring. I can sit on my couch and they ain't got to go look out the window and see that's you. Oh, that's you. They said, do you want to pause this for 30 seconds or 30 minutes? Yeah. You ain't gonna ring that long. I wouldn't do that to y'all, but I'm just saying the thought does come.
Wow.
Verse 10, he answered, I've been absolutely loyal to the Lord, the sovereign God. Even though the Israelites have abandoned the agreement they made with him, torn down your altars, killed your prophets with the sword, I alone am left. And now they want to take my life. Lord, you ain't got but one good saint left.
Come on now.
And they out to get me. The Lord said, go and stand out on the mountain before the Lord. Look, the Lord is ready to pass by. A very powerful wind went by before the Lord, digging into the mountain and causing landslides. This dude in an avalanche. But the Lord was not in the wind. After the windstorm, there was an earthquake. But the Lord wasn't in the earthquake. That's one thing, I've never been to California, but I just can't comprehend the earth cracking, opening up and swallowing me up. That's just terrifying. The thought of me, I ain't scared to die, but I don't want to be crushed.
Right.
With the earth open up and then close back and crunch you. And these people like, oh, we had a 6.5, we had a 6, you broke a few dishes. One earthquake, I'm gone. As soon as the airfield all right, I'm gone. Right. 700 to get out of town, no problem. Put that on Capital One. Don't leave home without it. I'll get up out of here. But these people, they deal with earthquakes. And I talked to a friend of mine, Al Finney, talking about the forest is on fire 50 miles away. He's talking about this soot all over my car. I'm going to work. What? Right. Man, I take that highway up out of California. Tell me, we got to wear a mask because there's soot and stuff in there. Oh, wow. You got that much dust on your car from a fire that's 50 miles away, and y'all all say, oh, it's over there. Right. Now, a wind can blow fire. Right. 50 miles, it can cover that pretty fast. Yeah. It's like a hungry cheetah. And then you sit there, I'm just saying. You sit there and this fire just 50 miles. Like from here to Rockford. Right. Boom. It ain't that far. Or maybe, I don't know, somewhere up there, Rocio. Yeah. So and then after the earthquake, there was a fire. But the Lord was not in the fire. Now, you done had earthquakes, fires, mudslides, and all this stuff. And he said, then was a soft whisper. When Elijah heard it, he covered his face with his robe, went out and stood at the entrance of the cave. All of a sudden, the voice asked him, why are you here, Elijah? The question never changed. Right. The same question he asked him at the beginning when he was depressed and all this other stuff. Now he's asking him again, why are you here? And he answered, I've been absolutely loyal to the Lord, the sovereign God. Even though the Israelites have abandoned the agreement they made with you, torn down your altars, killed your prophets with the sword, and I alone am left. And now they won't take my life. Sometimes God has done so much for you and you never change your perspective. You still the same place you were when God made a change in your life. Wow. God made the change, but you didn't perceive it because you never mentally made that switch. You never switched to where God has moved you to. God has made the blessing possible, but you still focusing on why you the only one going through what you're going through. Why am I the only one broke? Why am I the only one suffering? Why am I the only one that don't have this and that? Come on now. You steady trying to tell the Lord what you missing and what you lacking. Right. And the Lord is steady telling you, I got you. Come on now. Yeah. I got you. You got to have that assurance deep down inside of you. No matter what you're going through, all these things are temporary. Because we all know as believers, this body is temporary. We know that this earth is temporary. We know all these things are temporary situations. And there's nothing you're going through now that God can't get you out of it. But he's still rehearsing what he's been through. Oh, I got to tell you what's going on. Lord, you wasn't paying. You must not have been paying attention. Lord, are you for real? You see what I've been going through? I'm the only one you got left. Obadiah just told you he got 100 people left.
Right.
All that's out the window.
Right.
All the people fake.
Right.
I ain't too sure about Obadiah. We're in the middle of a plague and everything and famine, and he up there living with the king. He should have been out here suffering like everybody else. Like you're all full of chicken and everything that the ravens bought you. You know what I'm just saying? Right. You know? Oh, man. So they just disagreeing with you. They just overrode your agreement. So, now they're going to take my life. Verse 15, the Lord said, go back the way you came. Then head to the desert of Damascus. Go anoint Hazael, king of Assyria. You must anoint Jehu, son of Nimshi, king over Israel. And Elijah, the son of Shaphat, from Abel and Molah, to take your place as a prophet.
Wow.
Whew. Elijah, you fired. See, Trump didn't invent that.
Right.
Right here. Elijah, you fired. That's basically what he told me. Yeah. Go back the way you came. I'm sending you back through the danger you just came out of.
Wow.
But you got a mission. Even though she's looking for you, I'm sending you back through the trouble you just went through. Right. Sometimes God sends us back through that same trouble because we didn't get it the first time. But then God has given us the knowledge that we were in trouble, but while I was in trouble, he was in trouble with me. So now he's going to tell me, go back the way you came. Go back and deal with that situation you didn't take care of. Go back and deal with that thing that had you afraid. Go back and deal with that thing that you feared more than God. Go back and handle that. And as you go back and handle that, I want you to still handle my business. See, you got your notice, but it's not effective immediately.
Right.
Because I'm still using you. You still got to keep doing my work. Even when you're not feeling good, you got to preach. Even though when you're tired, you got to preach. Even though when you don't feel like it, you got to sing. Even though when you don't feel like it, you still got to handle your ministry. Don't nobody come to my ministry, I still got to come.
Right.
You know, it's crazy having Bible study with one person coming. I used to sit here and hope that they wouldn't come.
Right.
You know? I mean, really, I'm just like, but then they show up every week. But you know, it's a mental thing. I done left my warm, comfortable house to come here and have a Bible study with one person. Call me on the phone. We'll have this Bible study. You know, but I'm just saying, but you got to keep on keeping on. There are times, boy, you be like, ooh, why me? What did I do? You know, when you sit around, all the people talking about the problems they got with all these people in their church. Hey, man, please. Them little problems, first of all, you need to fire half them people. Then you can make it, you know, I take care of that for you.
Right.
Today. You know what I'm saying? They were arguing about their salary. Give me a salary. Then we'll argue. Stevie Wonder told me a long time ago, nothing from nothing means nothing. You know? Billy Preston, one of them. Anyway, you know. Wow. So now you got to go back here and take care of Elisha. And Jehu will kill anyone who escapes Hazael's sword. Elisha will kill anyone who escapes Jehu's sword. So these three people are going to kill anybody left. And I still have left in Israel 7,000 followers who have not bowed their knee to Baal or kissed the images of him. See, you talking about 100 folk.
Right.
I got 7,000 more people willing to serve me.
Wow.
You know what? God has other Christians than us.
Right.
God has other churches than us.
Right.
God has other followers than you.
Right.
God has people that really read the Bible.
Right.
I'm gonna move on. God has people that really pray. God has people that really do what God said. They don't have to be talked into it. Yeah. I'll tell you. But the Lord knows the spirit is willing. See, y'all already know. But the flesh is weak. That's my get out of jail free card with the Lord.
Thank you, Lord.
You know, that covers everything. But let's get out of jail free. You can't put me in bondage because the flesh is willing. Now, spirit's willing, flesh is weak. I don't know what they are. All of it's weak.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Oh, man.
Elijah went from there and found Elisha, the son of Shaphat. He was plowing with 12 pairs of oxen, and he was near the 12th pair. Elijah passed by him and threw his robe over him. He left the oxen and ran after Elijah, and he said, "Please, let me kiss my father and mother goodbye. Then I will follow you." Elijah said to him, "Go back. Indeed, what have I done to you?" See, Elijah's still dealing with that. Look, man, I done told you the calling's on your life. You want to go say goodbye to your mom and all that? Go do what you got to do. What have I done to you? It don't mean nothing. I just threw a cloak. You know, the Lord told me to pass in my cloak. I did what he told me. You don't want it, don't worry about it. Me and God got our own issues right now anyway. I'm trying to work out mine with fear and trembling. So if you don't want to take what God wants to do in your life, you handle God or your Lord, I did what you told me to do. This fool don't want it, it ain't on me. You know, he hurry up and pass that.
Right.
You number 3. I done took care of these other people. Here you go.
Oh, man.
So Elisha went back and took his pair of oxen and slaughtered them. He cooked the meat over a fire, and he made a burn made by burning the harness and the yoke. And he gave the people meat, and they ate. And then he got up and followed Elijah and became his assistant. Now there's something deep here. 12 teams of oxen. His people had a little bit of money.
Yeah, he did.
So not only did he follow the Lord, he made a sacrifice. He didn't just tell Dad, "I've been called to preach." He killed his oxen and burned up the equipment for somebody else to do the job. So even if his daddy would have went out and bought some more oxen, he still needed the whole equipment. So don't you know, when he quit that job, his dad was like, "Oh yeah, you leaving here."
Right.
You done killed 2 of my animals and you done burnt up some of my equipment. Boy, you done put me in the hole. You know how much oxen costs and all this? Now I got to find the employee plus equip them. You know, so he made a decision to serve the Lord that cost him something. You're like, we breaking your plate as soon as you go out the door.
Right.
Don't even come back. Because you done made a decision that is final. And too many of us have made a decision that's too, you know, like when I first got saved, I gave all my worldly albums to one of my relatives. I told Dwayne, hold on to these because I'm in the church now. But I was, you know, in case I want it back, I was going to go back and tell Dwayne I want my album back. And this Christian thing didn't work out. And I had a whole stack of albums. I used to buy them 3 and 4 at a time. You know, I buy albums just because of the artist. I don't know what it sounds like, but that's one of my favorite artists. You know, that's how I bought that Marvin Gaye album, Here, Dear. Because he had to pay alimony to his wife, and he agreed to give her the next album he made. Right. And if you ever listen to that album, Marvin Gaye, Here, My Dear, that album, don't waste your money on that. I don't know what she got, but she didn't get much out of that. It got me because I was in Germany, so I couldn't tell what the album was. You know? But I sidetracked. So he fed everybody with his equipment. See, God has already prepared your help. You may just be serving elsewhere until you fulfill your calling. God is already prepared. He was still doing what he was supposed to be doing. He was behind the team, being the leader of his father's whole, you know, all of his service. But in the meantime, God had him still doing what he was doing where he was at. So you may be doing what you're doing right now and think that you're not doing anything God could use, but God is using you right now because he's training you in patience. He's training you in endurance. He's training you in hardship. God is getting you ready for the next calling on you.
Amen.
So don't ever think that, you know, why am I doing this? God has you there. And some have fallen from great places. Used to have enough money to do whatever you want whenever you want. You could make it rain if you wanted to. Now you got an umbrella and it'll be raining around here. That's all I got. You're right, I'll tell you. I'll tell you. If it's not folding money, I ain't bending over. Just for me personally. Because I'm thinking if I throw my back out, then I got to go make an appointment. Then I got to go buy some pills, and then I got to pay 10% on that, and then all this and stuff. If this ain't folding money, and I ain't talking about $1, 5 might be questionable. You got to realize, is this worth the pulled muscle or not?
Oh, man.
I'm just saying.
Oh.
You keep on living, you'll get there.
Right. Oh, man.
My first point, why are you tired and frustrated, lonely and sick and burnt out? You feel like time is slipping by. Don't allow anybody to flip your script on you and make things your fault. Remember, guilt is too heavy for you to bear. You can't be guilt. Don't make people feel you guilty about choices they made, decisions they made. They did that. You know? You've done what you were supposed to do, and you've done what God instructed you to do. Don't worry about these other people. You can just get the popcorn. And sit back and wait and see what happens. My second point, God has taught me to look for the small clues that He's with me. It doesn't take signs and wonders. Stop looking to be overwhelmed by God. And just look for His favor in your life. Sometimes you just got to realize you are already blessed.
Come on now. Yes.
You're already blessed.
Yes. Amen.
I remember, as a teenager walking in these bitter cold days, you walk around hoping somebody would pass you that you knew. It's cold walking from East High and King Street wasn't no joke. And I'm like walking down the street looking for people I know. And then they see you, they wave and blow. Hey! And they didn't want to open their car door and let the heat out. I knew what was going on. I'm just saying. I used to have to plan when I had to walk from King Street to Simmons, and I'd warm up in the little bread box, and then warm from the bread box, then warm up in the laundromat, and from the laundromat to gas station, then from the gas station, warm up in Ben Franklin 5 and 10, from Ben Franklin make a run for Simmons. I had little plans, that I had to warm up on the way to school. I'm just saying, boy, when you going through,
come on now,
you're looking for that sign. Any sign. Oh, Lord. Just show me a sign. Why did my parents move to Illinois? They both came from warm places. How they end up here? Punishing me for generations to come. I'm just saying, God's favor is there. And my last point, you have to leave some things behind. You got to take inventory. There are places and people that you got to cut loose. You got to cut them loose. It may hurt and they may think you stuck up and all that, but that's all right. Don't you know when they're releasing, you feel good?
Amen.
If they don't feel good, you feel good, and that's all that matters. It's all about you, right? There's so many people that just can't leave the past behind. You ever been with people to tell you the same stories over and over again? Don't it be like, I'm telling you, you can. My uncle used to get mad. I start telling the story. He's telling me that. And I remember back in 19... when you got out the army in 1946, blah, 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 we went through all that, They look at me like, you getting smart, boy? No. Just trying to speed this. I want to leave while I got life left. I'm just saying. Man. And sometimes people just rehearse the same things. They in everybody's business. They all in this one doing that one and this one, and they give you them prayer gossip.
Prayer gossip, yes.
You ain't praying for them people. You just tell everybody what they're doing.
Come on now,
And it's a gossip request. I want y'all to hear what they've been doing. And Lord, my kid ain't right. I'm going to need you to change him. He been down there drinking liquor all day. I done told him that's against your will. They stole the light money. You going on and on. You got all this in your prayer. That husband of mine ain't right. Whoever he's with, I hope they all get something they can't get rid of. Come on now. I've heard some of them prayers. Lord, All my kids is crazy, but I'm trying to raise them right.
Right.
You don't understand it.
Right.
If they crazy today and you raised them, well, there you go. How did we get here? You know what I'm saying?
Come on now.
That's all.
Yeah, that's true.
Some of them just crazy anyway. Wasn't your fault. Some of them just, it was not your fault. They were pre-programmed. They had a faulty chip. But they was crazy up front. At a certain point, it kicked in. Just look straight ahead. Don't worry about it. Nobody talking about nobody's family.
Well.
I'm just saying, that's why I like family reunion.
Right.
I get back and I can see what the Lord is delivering me. I thank you, Lord, that I'm not like these other sinners. The Pharisee wasn't all wrong.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When he prayed that prayer, I thank God I ain't like these heathens. You know, that's all I'm saying. You know? That's all I'm saying. Amen. I love my family dearly.
Yes.
It's on tape. Or whatever, some kind of love, whatever that they record on. But I've said it openly. I love each and every one of them. Some more than others. No, all of them equal. All of them. Jesus commanded me to love them all. Every last one of them. I tell you, there's people I'm related to I wouldn't be friends with. I'm just saying, all we share is DNA. Other than that, we ain't got nothing in common. Amen. Is anybody here that needs salvation? Start the music, I got to go.
Right?
All right. My time is up. All right. You got to stay in your lane. Amen. Is there anybody here that knows the Lord? Anybody?
I know.
Somebody? Anybody? Does anybody know the Lord?
I know the Lord.
Amen. Anybody here need to renew a relationship with the Lord? Some of y'all, you know. Some of you won't make that walk. So everybody bow your head. Lord, for anybody that needs renewal, anybody that needs restoration, anybody that needs to get closer to you, Lord, we pray right now in agreement. You said where 2 or 3 are gathered, that you are in the midst. We come as a body, praying that you touch each and every person on the sound of my voice, anyone that's going to be watching this on YouTube, anyone that just needs a word from you. If they're asking, why are we here? What happened to cause them to be where they are? Let them look and realize, Lord, that you still have a plan for their life. You still have a purpose for their life. You still have a need for them. These things we pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Remember, he's risen with you. And our altar counselors will pray with you. Amen.